Among the many gaming genres, fantasy stands out as one of the most celebrated, often delivering some of the greatest games ever made. Iconic franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Elder Scrolls, Dark Souls, and World of Warcraft have all emerged from this genre, creating a legacy of unforgettable experiences. The list of fantastic fantasy games goes on, having tons of examples to choose from. However, not all games live up to the high standards set by these classics. Unfortunately, Dragon Dogma 2 seems to fall far below this category because this game fucking sucks. While I didn't play the original Dragon Dogma, based on the gameplay footage I've seen on YouTube, the sequel doesn't appear to bring much new to the table compared to its predecessor. To be fair, Dragon Dogma 2 does have its strong points, such as its challenging combat, stunning visuals, and the unique pawn system. However, these positive aspects are overshadowed by significant flaws. The story was underwhelming, there was poor gear distribution, missions were buggy, pacing was uneven, and unnecessary microtransactions. From what I've read on forums and reviews, many players feel that this game is essentially a remake of the first Dragon Dogma. To me, that's not a good look, but since I haven't played the original, I'll avoid drawing direct comparison because I prefer not to critique games I haven't experienced firsthand. It's surprising considering how Capcom was on fire in 2023 when they released Street Fighter 6. Fast forward to 2024 with the release of Dragon Dogma 2, it seems like they should stick to their strengths in the fighting genre. To be clear, this game isn't as bad as a game like Redfall, but Dragon Dogma 2 felt like an unfinished product. It's a shame that Capcom let a game with this much potential go to waste. I think with more time and polish, Dragon Dogma 2 could have been a great addition to the franchise. How in the hell did the dragon get in here? Where are the guards? Nah, they probably dead. Man, let me get out of whoa, what's going on? What's going on? Why am I stuck? What's going on? Oh shit, I'm on the wall. Yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here, bro. Hell no, I'm not fighting that goddamn thing. In Dragon Dogma 2, you play as a soldier who was killed by a dragon and shortly after revived by the same dragon who stole your heart in the process. In this world, whenever a dragon appears and steals the heart of an individual, he or she is given the title Arisen by the people and is automatically made the ruler of the land. Now, with their fates intertwined, the Arisen is destined to one day face off against the dragon in order to save the world. However, before your ultimate showdown with the dragon, you must unravel a political conspiracy regarding an imposter that claims to be the Arisen. With some determination and some aid from the inside thanks to a certain character, you will show the world who the true Arisen is. Now, for the people that love this game, let me hold your hand when I tell you this. Dragon Dogma 2's story was complete ass. I mean, that shit was ass-tastic. Don't get me wrong, the first 5 hours or so were fine, but not too long after that, the story became stale. About halfway through, it was boring and confusing. The ending of the story left me feeling unsatisfied, and I realized how disjointed and vague it was. Anyone with half a brain can tell you this game was an unfinished product and the story is just the tip of the iceberg. Interacting with characters was not a good experience either. Majority of the NPCs you interact with are bland and robotic, plus the dialogue was flat. All of this ruined the immersion for me and hurt the RPG aspect overall. When it came to the side quests, they weren't memorable. The only one I enjoyed was the quest line dealing with an elf trying to improve his archery skills. My main problem I had with questing in general is that certain missions just didn't work. Before you ask, yes, I met the conditions and or requirements for those missions. In order to fix the missions, I had to restart the game. From what I've read, there is a bug that causes NPCs to perform their intended actions and dialogue options incorrectly. This happened to me a handful of times, and it really interrupts the flow of the game. Graphics were the biggest highlight of Dragon Dogma 2. From cutscenes to regular gameplay, this game's visuals were stunning. While exploring, I would find myself stopping to gaze upon the beautiful scenery. I was completely captivated. If I were to describe it further, it was similar to how a drug addict stares blankly in a general direction while under the influence of an illegal substance that contains hallucinogenic properties. Unfortunately, within a blink of an eye, that high is ruined by an elder griffin who literally spawns out of fucking nowhere trying to kill me. Oh my God, this game will not let me breathe. Where did he even come from? Griffins weren't the only monsters after you. There are various enemy types like dragons, cyclops, goblins, and more that will try and take you out. Engaging enemies at night was a whole different story if you didn't have any light. just consider yourself dead. Creatures like ghosts, undead skeletons would come out of nowhere. If you are unlucky like I was, you will run into a damn minotaur, so make sure you are prepared if you travel by night. Even camping isn't safe because when you lie down to rest, there is a chance that your camp can be raided by a group of bandits. This game kept me on my toes because of the random encounters. Combat is great, but tough, especially in the beginning. There were plenty of times that I fell victim to a pack of wolves. All of my goddamn pawns are dead. It took me 2 real life days to get over here. Now I'm getting freaking drugged around and mauled like a fucking rodent. Oh my God, I hate this fucking game, dude. And the shit don't even have a mount. However, as you progress through the game and start to level up, the power gap between you and your enemies will shorten quickly, especially when you start leveling up your vocations and getting stronger pawns. Think of vocations as combat classes within Dragon Dogma 2. There are 9 vocations to choose from. The vocation you choose for the Arisen or their pawn dictates weapons and skills they are able to use, as well as how their stats increase per level. Vocations are separated into 3 categories, and they are basic, advanced, and hybrid. Basic vocation consists of the fighter, archer, thief, and mage combat styles. These are starter classes that can be acquired early into the game at the vocation guild. Advanced vocations like the warrior and sorcerer are evolutions of basic vocations with more capabilities. The hybrid vocations are combinations of the combat styles within the first 2 vocations. For instance, the magic archer vocation is just the mage and the archer vocation fused together. This was by far my favorite vocation to use because it's flashy and has the ability to deal massive damage from a long distance. To keep it a buck with you, the magic archer is kinda overpowered. Unlike basic vocations, advanced and hybrid vocations aren't easily accessible. You will have to complete various side quests in order to unlock them. Thankfully, once you start unlocking different vocations, you don't have to settle with just using one. At any time, players can walk into any vocation guild and change either the Arisen or their pawn's class. Leveling up vocations gets easier as you progress through the story. So, as you rank up different vocations, you will purchase their various skills and abilities using discipline points that you have earned from defeating enemies. The most useful feature pertaining to your skills has to do with augments. Think of augments as passive abilities that players can equip to the Arisen or their pawn. Each character can only have 6 augments active at one time. The best thing about them is that the augments you've unlocked from different vocations can be used when you switch to another vocation. For example, if you're a sorcerer and you can't take a lot of physical damage due to the lack of defense, to offset this, you can use the metal augment from the fighter vocation to reduce physical damage by 30%. On top of that, if you're pulling too much aggro, you can use the subtlety augment from the thief vocation to reduce that. I like how they give players the ability to mix and match different augments, allowing players to find their playing style that best suits them. Each vocation also has a powerful weapon skill that can't be accessed through normal means. To acquire these skills, you must find a master of that vocation. Unfortunately, these masters are scattered around the map and you must befriend them before they teach you the skill. The pawn system sounds good on paper, but when you experience it firsthand, you realize it's not that great. But I will focus on the good stuff for a second. I enjoyed customizing my pawn, and I like how this game allows you to change your pawn's vocation at the drop of a hat, allowing you to gain the advantage in certain combat scenarios. Recruiting different pawns created by other players was nice as well. You will see that players all over the world have created cool and unique characters to add to your 4-person team. Not too long ago, I seen a pawn that resembled Ice Spice while scrolling through TikTok. By the way, RIP to TikTok. When I seen that, I laughed a little bit, and part of me hoped that I would find something funny like that while playing this game. Unfortunately for me, someone thought it would be funny to name their character's name Nigga Main. Nigga Main. Like, what are the odds of the few African Americans that have played this game that one of them would get a character named Nigga Main? Whoever made this character, I just want to let you know that your mama a hoe. Anyway, so I recruited Nigga Main to the group and he did a great job. Unfortunately, unlike your pawn, pawns created by other players can't level up, so at a certain point you have to kick them out of the group and recruit new pawns that are a higher level. As you journey with your group of pawns, they can assist you in navigating when you're lost or help guide you to new locations. Along the way, they'll collect items and share tales of their experience with other groups, enriching your adventure with their stories. Unfortunately, once they start talking, they don't know how to shut up. At first, it's okay, but after they start repeating the same dialogue over and over, it gets annoying. I wish the devs would have added a chat frequency setting like they did in Forspoken, so I can make the pawns shut the hell up. When encountering enemies with your pawns, the AI is horrible. To be fair, there were times that the pawns did great during combat. However, most of the time, I found myself reviving them because they would stand there and get hit by attacks consistently. If I'm being honest, the main reason I stuck around long enough to complete the campaign was the combat. I really enjoyed experimenting with the different vocations, each offering a unique playstyle. Some vocations were better than others, depending on personal preference, but overall the combat was a highlight for me. However, despite its strengths, the combat alone wasn't enough to redeem this game. To improve the experience, they could have added more vocations, expanded the skills and abilities, and refined some of the clunkier ones. While the combat itself wasn't bad, other issues in the game ultimately undermined the overall gameplay, preventing the combat from truly being its saving grace. When it comes to exploration, there is no incentive to do so. Once you've encountered all the different enemy types and the initial allure of the graphics fade, it becomes clear that this game has a serious problem. Treasure chests, whether found in the open world or within dungeons, fail to offer anything truly special. They drop consumable items, and the worst part is that all gear they provide can be easily purchased from shops in the respective towns, making exploration feel extremely unrewarding. I think the most shocking part to me was that Capcom decided to put microtransactions in Dragon Dogma 2. Items like camping kits, wake stones, rift crystals, port crystals, and more are available for purchase. It's important to note that all the items available for purchase can be acquired through normal gameplay. So I'm guessing that Capcom is trying to make it more convenient for certain players. Hell, what's next? From Software is going to start selling bonfires for their next Soul game? Honestly, I think this is scummy, and they're testing the waters to see what they can get away with. This type of stuff is a slippery slope in my opinion, and I don't want this type of behavior in single-player games. I'm going to be completely honest. Capcom really dropped the ball with Dragon Dogma 2. The game felt rushed and incomplete. The story was vague and seemed unfinished. Plus, the characters were bland and unmemorable. Exploration felt pointless since the gear you find in treasure chests can simply be purchased from shops. Although the combat was decent, it could use more refinement. The only standout aspect was the graphics, which were truly impressive. Dragon Dogma 2 had so much potential to be an amazing game, but the rushed development undermined it. This is why I believe game developers should take their time to ensure players receive a well-polished, fully realized product. If you really want to play this game, I recommend that you wait for it to go on sale. So, without further ado, I give Dragon Dogma 2 a 5 out of 10. That will be it for today's review. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments section below regarding Dragon Dogma 2. Don't forget to tap that notification bell in order to stay up to date on my content. Stay safe, my friends, and please take care of one another. Peace.